ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to do with this presentation is to give a brief introduction and overview of the global MTCC network, that's the GMN project. I'd also like to talk a little bit about how the GMN project is tied to wider IMO initiatives around energy efficiency and climate change. So, as was already stated during the speeches this morning, IMO is committed to reducing harmful emissions from the shipping sector. And one of the means of achieving that objective is to promote technology transfer and capacity building around the world, and particularly focusing on developing regions. The slide here shows IMO's response path, and it also shows where GMN fits into this wider IMO initiative. In terms of regulation, in 2013, Regulation 23, MARPOL Annex 6, was adopted, and this focuses specifically on providing support, technical cooperation with developing regions. Since then, IMO has developed awareness-raising and capacity-building tools. These include model courses, train-the-trainer courses, as a few examples, and all of this has been channeled through IMO's Integrated Technical Cooperation Programme, ITCP. IMO is also focused on establishing major projects, and these are focused on capacity building and private sector partnerships. For example, in 2015, the GLOMEEP project was established. That's the Global Maritime Energy Efficiency Partnership. And in 2016, our own project, the GMN, was established. Both these projects are focused on establishing a global network to promote technology cooperation and transfer. The idea is very much that through IMO, through support and capacity building, we were able to assist with the institutionalization of capacity building and technology transfer in developing regions. The driving force behind this IMO initiative is really an increasing demand from developing countries for capacity building and technology transfer. Again, IMO is committed to reducing harmful emissions from shipping, and this is one of the best ways to achieve that objective. In terms of the geographic scope of the project, we've already seen through Vivian's presentation, it covers 5 regions: Africa, Asia, Caribbean, Latin America, and Pacific. The reason why these regions were chosen is because of the large number of least developed countries and small island developing states. Many of these countries are on the front line of the climate change issue, and many of these countries in the region are major players in terms of the shipping sector, and it's those countries that would benefit most from increased technology transfer and capacity building. So, as you all know by now, this project is funded by the European Union. The EU is providing 10 million euros over a 4-year period. IMO is the implementer with a dedicated project coordination unit in London. The project was established in January 2016 and will close in December of 2019. During the lifespan of the project, there are 3 key objectives which we're focused upon. The first is that the 5 MTCCs are successfully established. A large part of that has been focused on identifying and then confirming host institutions. The second key objective is for MTCCs to become fully operational. That is, they're able to implement the work programs which have been agreed. MTCCs are also to become financially self-sustained. So Vivian touched on the point earlier. The project will close at the end of 2019. The intention is that MTCCs continue into the future, beyond 2019. Over the next 2 years, of course, MTCCs will be focused upon successfully implementing their work programs. Pilot projects, of course, are absolutely central to that. But another key factor in terms of success is making sure that they're self-sustainable, that they can generate their own income through external donors or through the project itself. If we talk about a long-term vision of the GMN, then it is that the MTCCs have become, over the next few years, centres of excellence. They're strong, they are well connected in the region, and they're self-sustaining. The vision is also that they're able to expand their work programs beyond 2019. This is just the start for the MTCCs. The role of IMO and the role of EU really is just to plant the seed, and it's for the MTCCs to take us forward into the future. If we look at the management structure of the GMN, there is a project steering committee which consists of senior level representatives from both the EU and the IMO. We've already talked about the project coordination unit. This oversees the work of the MTCCs and also reports directly to the project steering committee. We're currently going through the process of establishing a global stakeholder committee. This will consist of representatives from government, industry and academia. The idea is that these committee members oversee the strategic advance of the project. They will be there to look and guide the project beyond 2019. So if we have a very clear program of what needs to be achieved to 2019, the role of the Global Stakeholder Committee is to look beyond that. It's likely that many of the members of this group will be long-term donors or supporters, potentially, for the MTCCs. So it's important that we get them engaged as early as possible. And we also use them to think about what work MTCCs should focus on beyond 2019. Where do they see MTCCs providing the most benefit in their respective regions? And of course we have the MTCCs themselves. Caribbean is just one of 5. These are MTCCs, and again Vivian touched on the point, they're there to form a network. Absolutely key to their success is that they work together, and we're very lucky that the director of MTCC Latin America is able to join us, and this is really the first step in terms of much closer cooperation between these two MTCCs and of course the wider network. So that's something that we from IMO encourage as much as possible for these MTCCs to collaborate together. So in terms of the scope and functions of the MTCCs, Vivian's already talked through these points, and I know that over the next 2 days we'll be looking in a lot of detail in terms of how these functions will be achieved and what is the role of the stakeholders who are here today. In terms of the current status of the GMN, the 5 MTCCs have now all been formed. The MTCC Africa will be hosted at the Jomo Kenyatta University in Kenya. MTCC Asia will be hosted at Shanghai Maritime University, China. The MTCC Pacific is housed at the Pacific Community, Fiji. And of course, we have MTCC Latin America as part of the International Maritime University of Panama. Now, the MTCCs are at various stages in terms of their establishment. Some of the contracts were signed at the end of last year. For those MTCCs, considerable progress has been made. We touched on the point earlier in terms of what Caribbean has achieved in 6 months. This MTCC is now fully established. Staff have been recruited, offices have been refurbished, and for this MTCC the focus now is on delivering the work programme that has been agreed.